What did President Uhuru Kenyatta want to say at Bomas? For indeed there's something he wanted to say. He had prepared us the day before on Sunday, while in Nyeri at Tumtumu to be exact, where he stated that he was not going to talk politics, but that he will do that the following day during the Bomas launch of the BBI. So indeed there's something that Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta wanted to say, and it was something major. So the question this morning I want to ask, did he say it? And if he said it, what is it that he said? If he didn't say, why didn't he say it? Or did he say it in a manner that wasn't direct and explicit? And if the answer is yes, how did he put it across? How did it play out at Bomas? Now, talking about Bomas, there's so much that came out of Bomas. First, the document. Because the document was then explained to Kenyans in summary form, the key issues that it contained or it tried to address, the BBI draft or report. Now, out of this, one is able to make some judgment. Prima facie, is it a good document? My honest opinion is that BBI as an idea is good. I've said this repeatedly. Many things contained within the report are good, but there are equally certain things they may not be good. Some may require a little calibration and panel beating, and that's why I might support Musalia Mudavadi. There could be need to relook at a few things, but overall it is a good report. And the question then that follows is, will the referendum that is inevitable, will it go through? My honest opinion again, yes, it will go through. And that brings the question of consensus. There are people who are arguing, let us sit together, a small committee, as explained by Mudavadi, so that we pick out some of the issues, the kind of issues that William Samoei Ruto perhaps raised and other Kenyans. Then the question is, will that be the right thing to do? The problem here is one, that how many times will you open a document for discussion? That if you do so, and there are those who are arguing, the strong membership of BBI and the handshake, they're arguing something must be brought to an end. It is true that if you open, there will be need to reopen, and reopen, at what point will you finish it? Especially given that, in my understanding, we would need to have this document before 2022. So much as there's merit in relooking at it, there's also counter argument in terms of for how long will you open it to amendment. Then there are those again from the William Samoei Ruto who are arguing that we need to relook at certain things as a way of building consensus. Again, that has a lot of merit. But the question you might ask yourself again, will the handshake team be willing to build this consensus, much as it is good? I will not blame them if they are hesitant. I will not blame Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta and their team if they are hesitant in terms of this building consensus. Because how would you trust William Ruto? How would you know he will not leave you in the high seas? That you relax, you drop your guard. If you had set up campaign teams and the strategies, you dismantle them because there's consensus. And then from nowhere, pop, he's campaigning. You are left flat-footed. So I will not blame them if they were to be hesitant in this consensus building. That brings me specifically, before I go to the question of what Uhuru wanted to address, that brings me to what William Samoei Ruto said. First, that he was able to poke holes into this document is an indictment on the people who organized that BBI function. They organized in a way they left it open for people to stand and attack it. Secondly, the person who presented the summary, I don't blame him. I just want to, not to teach him, to advise him next time you are presenting a document. And that's why we have a problem in this country. Whenever we have a task, we think just about anybody can do it. I'm not saying anything wrong about the man who did it, but I'm saying when you make a presentation and you know you are giving something that is contentious something that is open to rejection and criticism. You must forestall certain questions. You must foresee certain counter arguments. You must be able in your presentation to preempt, so that if a more capable Kenyan was presenting that document in Bomas, that's what I'm saying, William Samoei Ruto would not have said the things he said, because the presenter would have preempted what William Samoei Ruto was going to ask and say, so that you left him kind of become a star. And this is an indictment on the organizers of BBI at Bomas. I'm not saying it was bad for Ruto to say that. But finally on this Ruto, why was Ruto coming out the way he came out? One, he wanted to show that he's not down, that there were no demons at Bomas. He was not surrendering. Two, he wanted to assure his constituents, and he did mention that I speak for millions of hustlers. So he was standing up for his people. Failure to go to Bomas, failure to do that, he would have left his people wondering whether their general was still indeed a general. So it was critical. And that's why I'm saying the presenters at Bomas from the handshake team, BBI team, you ought to have known that. You didn't know it. So you are poor at your work. I score you at C-. You barely pass. Now, another thing why Ruto said what he was, and this is critical. Before now I move to Uhuru Kenyatta's thing that he wanted to say. I suspect Ruto has noticed that he cannot beat these people. He has noticed that this game has been played by Uhuru Kenyatta in such a way, the ball is so high up there, he cannot reach it. So he's surrendering, but on his terms. He's surrendering on his terms. He wants to appear to give conditions as a way of consensus. And you could hear that from Muranga yesterday. Every speaker in the Ruto meeting was bringing out that there are those in the Raila, and again this blaming Raila for nothing. Why do you blame Raila? I'll come to that. That there are those people, especially Raila, who don't want consensus. No, Ruto is trying to pretend he wants consensus, but he's giving conditions as a way of saving his face as he surrenders. That is true. So he has realized he may not go far, and therefore appear to be giving conditions as a way of sitting down with Kenyans on the other side and building consensus. I must point out, before I leave this, I am for consensus. I'm among the few people in 2017 who urged Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga to sit down. I have been on record urging Uhuru Kenyatta, Raila Odinga to sit down with William Ruto. So I'm for this country, I'm for consensus, I'm for peace, I'm for an uncontested referendum, I'm for a peaceful 2022. I'm only analyzing what I'm saying. Now we must now go back to what Uhuru wanted to say. He had prepared us when he was in Nyeri. But even at Bomas, he said he wanted to say the truth. He said he wanted to remove what was inside him. Nataka kutoa ile iko roho yangu. And therefore, if you looked at even the body language, he wanted to say something. I suspect for the first time, Uhuru Kenyatta was trying to tell William Samoei Ruto and the Kenyans in general that perhaps our relationship is no longer tenable. That I have chosen to go a different path. I make this announcement in the interest of Kenyans, that I had promised to support you for presidency. But considering other factors and putting the greatness of the nation first, I will not do that, and I have my reasons. Remember, he mentioned that Ruto had been with him throughout. So the question then will be, why would Ruto be talking bad things about the handshake when the president says in his presence they were together all through, that in fact he helped him build the BBI team by giving him a few names? So that then leaves me wondering, why would Ruto and his team be attacking Raila over the handshake, over the BBI, over this report, when indeed he was going in the same direction with his president? Why? The second thing that Uhuru Kenyatta said is that he's not happy that William Ruto, whom he had wanted to support, is running before time, is ignoring what the president has said. Let's work for Kenyans first, So he was saying it in public, and that is a very serious thing. And then he came up with a relay thing, that ile ya kupokezana ile vijiti, that you do not run beyond the accepted. You can go up front, you can go back, but you normally go back with your back. You don't turn. Uhuru said he turned. I had some MP from Eldoret saying you are allowed 20 meters ahead. Yes, you are allowed, but you do not turn like Uhuru said. You keep your hand behind as you try to meet your person, or you go ahead a bit, so that you see. But he says he turned. That is very telling. So Uhuru was trying to deliver a message, but I strongly suspect after saying those three things, something held him back. And remember, he never even went through his official speech. Something held him back. And therefore, I still believe sooner than later, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, the President of the Republic of Kenya, is going to give and make a very categorical statement, which he failed to do in Bomas. He's put it in a subtle way. I suspect and strongly believe he had actually wanted to tell Ruto point blank, this is the position. He didn't do it, and I very much suspect that he will do it. But in the interest of this country, consensus will be good, but you cannot go to table William Samoei Ruto and your friends and your supporters. You do not go to table with the conditions. When you stretch your hand of friendship, you do not do it with a clenched fist. You give your hand like that with a clean heart, without conditions, and you sit down. So I very much doubt that there's going to be consensus, given the way the Tanga Brigade is giving conditions. They shouldn't give conditions. This is their country. They have no choice but to love it.